This stone marks the Quapaw Line west boundary of the lands in territorial Arkansas ceded the Quapaw Indians by the United States according to the Treaty of 1818, erected by the Captain Basil Gaither Chapter, Daughters of American Revolution, 1936. And we are here on the corner of 9th and Commerce at the Arkansas Arts Center. And welcome to the second part of my walk in historic MacArthur Park neighborhood. We are going to be checking out some homes in this area, and as you can see here, new construction. That's going to be the Arts Center. It's free of charge right now. They don't charge. I mean, I hope they continue to not charge. They ask for donations if you want to. And of course, you can become a member, but they don't charge to go in there. So when they open in 2022, feel free to drop in and see what they got. Also, right now, they have moved the Art Center to Riverdale community, which is down on Cantrell, into the old Harvest Foods / old Walmart neighborhood market. And I think it's free of charge there, but I don't know if they're open right now because of the COVID-19. But here you go. That's the, that's it. That's going to be, they're in there working right now. It's going to be one heck of a museum. You can see the fountain's gone. The fountain is no longer there. So that's gonna bring us to our walk. Go ahead, tag along. Crossing over to 10th Street, we're going to be looking for the Cadell Cottages. Kadel Cottages, which one is located right here. As you can see, there it is. Basically identical. He paid $550 for 2 lots across from the Arsenal. And that was one, and I believe this one's the other. Traditional cottages built in 1860, and this one, which is this one here, focus, basically identical. That one's built, this one here is built in 1852, the other one was built in 1860. They went under some rehabilitation. In the 70s and in the 80s. East 10th. Okay, so here is the Ellerman Furling house. Check out this. Basically identical, built in 1890. It's been rehabilitated as 4 apartments in the 60s. But as it looks right now, it almost looks like a single family dwelling with the blue and teal paint, red asphalt roof that probably had a tin metal roof, not a tin roof, but a metal roof, metal flashing at that time. But it's nice to see houses that were built in the late 1800s still in use. All right. So now we're going to look at the Scott House, which is right here, built for Sterling Scott, designed by Frank Gibb, which we actually stopped by his house. Across the street here, so you can get a picture. Still looks the same, in great condition. It's actually an apartment complex right now, or not a complex, but it has a multi-unit house. As you can see here, you can look right there. It actually used to be a window. See, there's a window there. Now it's gone. Those windows back then, you could actually walk out onto the top upper deck, which is a pretty cool feature. And just cat-a-corner across the street is the Carolyn Row Housing, which this is it right here. You can see there, and right here. Well, these two. Brick duplexes built as duplexes as an investment property. Now we're going to make our way down to, going to Scott Street. Sorry. Get a little turned around. It's hard to be a one-man operation. All right, I'll be right back. And I'm back, just like that. So it's pretty cool to be walking down a historic area with apartment complexes here. Then directly across the street is a modern complexes. But if you look at something like that, and then look at something like this, which is a old brick building. I mean, this building here will be here way past this one. This one will deteriorate in time, and this one will remain the same. The Bragg house right there. This is a really cool house that we're going to be coming up on right here. The Hanger House, built for Frederick and Frances Hanger in 1889, Queen Anne style. There she was, and there she is, still identical. In 1900, Frederick Hanger was killed in an accident at one of the businesses, a granite quarry, which I'm wondering if that's where the Granite Mountain Quarry is. I don't know, but it could be. And we'll make our way on down. backtrack a little bit. Wait a minute, where are we? No, we'll go this way. And we'll go across here. So this whole time we've been on the north side of Interstate 630, and now we're going to go on the south side and visit a few homes over here, starting with the Bein House. Bein House? Bein House. B-E-I-N. Built in 1889. Several houses were destroyed because Interstate 630 has not always been here. So between 10th and 12th Street, it might have been 11th Street, basically 1.5 city blocks completely uprooted and gone. And that happened all the way from Interstate 30 to West Little Rock, where Interstate 430 is. Basically divided the city into halves back in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s. Actually, I remember parts of 630 was not even finished when I was alive. So I guess that was in the 70s. I always like these cool, flat, square buildings. It's an animal clinic now. It's just, I like that. Reminds me of my youth. This is the side of the Bein House. Bein? B-E-I-N. Bein. Help to know what the nationality of the people were. Built for Lizzie G. Bein. Right now, it's a law office, but the business is relocating and you can purchase this building. There it is. Mrs. Bein moved from New Orleans to Little Rock in the early 1700s with her husband. Her husband died. She had this house built. Like I say, now it's an office building. But it still has a nice porch swing. And it looks like it has an upstairs residence. I really enjoy this old style brick sidewalks, but they don't make a lot of sense because tree roots uproot them and they become hard to walk on. So there's some historic houses all along here. you can do your research for yourself and find a lot of information about these houses. Now we're looking at the Chisholm House. Check this out. Built in 1895-96. $4,200 to build this house back in the late 1800s. $4,200. That's I'm sure that was a chunk of change. A good chunk of change. Might look like I'm just walking across streets with no care about where I'm going, but I do care. I really do. Little Rock High School. Check out this next house, which is the Weirman Gimmel House. Two mirror image houses that share a common wall. So here we go. That was the look of it back in the day. And check it out. Here it is now. Built in 1884. You can see it is split right down the middle, right here. It shares a common wall, but it is two separate houses. So we're continuing walking down Commerce Street, Cumberland Street, not Commerce, Cumberland. So back in the day, you would actually tie your horse up to one of these posts. Because when these houses were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s, people still had horses. They would use public transportation. COVID souvenirs. COVID souvenirs for you. So these are some newer houses here. These I think were destroyed in a tornado. Or maybe they weren't destroyed. Maybe they're being remodeled. I don't know. So this is the Bragg House. Built in 1869. It's on the National Register. It's a single family house. I know that it had been partially remodeled in the 2000s. And the Braggs lived in it till the 78. So, or a Bragg lived in it until at least 78. Which is, it's pretty cool to have somebody live in it for 100 years. and we'll continue. It's a assisted living facility here on the corner of 16th and Cumberland. I'm not sure if this next house exists. It may or may not exist. Like I say, a tornado came through here in January of 1991 and destroyed. Yeah, it's no longer here. So a tornado came through and wiped out a nice path through downtown Little Rock. Destroyed a lot of historic homes. A lot of them were remodeled, rebuilt. But as you can see, that is no longer there. It is a backside of a Walgreens drugstore. So over here is the Bray house. There's actually Bray sheet metal behind it. So there's a shop right here where you can do sheet metal. You can see some out there. And this is also an apartment building. That's the offices. And then right along there is an apartment. And you tell me, how do you get a refrigerator through here? I tell you how. He asked me to do it because I did it. I did for sure. And it sucked. But I got the job done. Sorry for the pathetic amount of information I'm giving you about these houses, but I hope you enjoy looking at them. I mean, this is on historic or National Register, but I have no idea anything about that house. If you know anything about these houses, comment, let me know. So I'm coming up on a super old house here. You can tell, look. This one has a brick sidewalk. Some of them have been removed. Some of them are getting uprooted by roots. But right here is the Garland Mitchell house. Basically looks the same. This house was built in 1873, 1874. It's got wraparound porches. This has had 2 governors live here. The birth of a Pulitzer Prize winning poet, and served as the home of a prominent newspaper publisher. I know for sure that it was an apartment built, divided into apartments at one time, and then got turned back to apartments, or to a single family house. I know that because my dad actually bought that house, and he started cracking into windows, or he started cracking into walls, and found huge sliding pocket doors. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to come right here to probably one of the most famous houses, the Villa Marie. Basically looks identical, built in 1881. This is probably most famously known as the Designing Women House, because the opening shot for the house was right here. But not a single scene was ever filmed of designing women in this house. But it is known as the Designing Women House. And directly across the street, they tried to kind of keep with the same roof line. This is a brand new apartment complex. You can see the roof line kind of tries to mimic this angled design, and they did a fairly good job of it. But that is a brand new construction. So now we'll walk across the street here. You can see this is the old Little Rock High School. This was the high school of Little Rock before Central High School was built. It has been remodeled and turned into apartments. And they did that in the early mid 2000s. Looking for the plaque here. It's called the East Side Lofts now, but it was the Little Rock High School. This was the gymnasium and auditorium, erected in 1911, 1912, and it was, I think, commissioned. Let me get over here. There used to be a plaque here. These trees are all grown up. You can't really see the plaques. Yeah. So it has the school board. Can't really make them out. But yeah, this was the auditorium, gymnasium, and then the school building was back over there. So that's all the houses that I have. As you can see, it is very residential down here now. 25, 30 years ago, man, there was, you have businesses and a few little houses that were occupied here and there, but people just didn't really want to live down here. It was a little scary back in the late 80s and early 90s. The community kind of gone in disarray, but it's had a resurgence in the 2000s, and now it's the place to be. Unless you're a law office, then you want to relocate, because that's that one that's relocating. It's a pretty neat little house. Like the windows in it. Brick that's been painted white, which is a travesty. You can see it was a red brick, and then they've painted it white. Cinder block wall with a cool door with painted glass. No, I'm just doing a video on my own. Yeah, just.
I thought you were taking a walk with a friend on Zoom.
I love.
She's over there.
I love it. I love a walk out with Ray.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you. She does them.
She does well.
Yeah.
She has to live with you sometimes.
That's right.
Love his hair.
But we don't have to live with him.
No, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah,
We thought he might be with the news or something.
No, I'm just walking around documenting the historic houses.
Yeah.
So.
I thought you were taking a walk with your grandmother.
And so continue along. So there were houses all along here, but when the interstate came through, they did an eminent domain, and so the highway department owns all of this area right here, and it's not able to be built on or anything like that. They just added this little sidewalk right here. This sidewalk used to just have a dirt path cut through from people that would walk through it, but so I guess the city, I don't know if it was the city or the highway department, finally put a sidewalk through, or a walking path, because like I say, it was just basically a dirt path. I'm going to tramp through the grass here. Some high clover. So right there is a foundation for part of the house from back in the day. Just like I say, there was houses here before. These are two brand new construction. They've just been built within the last 5 years. Actually, probably within the last 3 years. And it's directly next to a house that was refurbished and remodeled. And you can see that the house there takes up that corner. And then this was part of a second house, but they acquired that lot. But I remember there was a house right here, and they had it was just dilapidated, so they tore it down. So yeah, this is a brand new path that they just made. That house was actually on the Quapaw Quarter tour of homes that we went on last year. And across the freeway is MacArthur Park. You can see that crane, that's where the construction for the art center is. And then MacArthur Park is right over here. We're going to be taking this pedestrian bridge over the freeway. Were those grannies, was that granny hitting on me? She said take a walk with a granny. Was she hitting on me? She was making comments about my braids, or plaits, as the people call them. If you're curious, I've been wearing my hair like this for 15 years or more. What is it, this? This is year 20. I've been wearing my hair like this since 2006. So 14 years. I wore it like this for quite a bit, and I actually shaved it off to 0. And then I grew it right back out. I just enjoy the long hair. I wear the plaits so that I don't have to really deal with it. I get them done about every week and a half. They just stay up. And when they start getting frizzy, I get them redone, and my wife does them. So thank you, honey, for doing that. So right now, this is this area just south of us, they're calling this the Petaway, which Petaway Park is on 21st Street. So I don't really think this is called Petaway, but you can see brand new construction, and they're remodeling these houses, and it's really good because, like I say, these houses were basically abandoned and nobody wanted to have anything to do with them. Living next to the freeway, it is kind of loud, and I ain't gonna lie, this was the ghetto. This has turned into the ghetto. It was a shady area back in the late 80s and early 90s. I basically just sucked down a whole bottle of water. That felt good. Oh yeah, that felt good. So there's a school right here, and God, I can forget the name of it. Jefferson? No, it's not Jefferson. What's the name of this school? Rockefeller. Why wouldn't I remember Rockefeller? All right, close your ears. There we go. That felt good. Yeah, that's Rockefeller. Named after Win Rockefeller, which was a governor back in the day, and his son was a lieutenant governor. Win with win. That was the slogan. This is the 630 interchange. Go to the left, you go to North Little Rock. Go to the right, you go to Texarkana. Got this cool little covered area. But I don't get it. They have it caged here so you can't throw stuff off. But then it's open right here. You just toss things over. I actually did have somebody. Well, I didn't to me, but on the Woodrow Street overpass on 630 a few years back, a kid threw a big rock off of the bridge and hit a car, and it killed the lady that was driving the car. So I understand putting them on there, but could have covered the top too. And this is just basically a bridge that joins the south part of the neighborhood, MacArthur Park neighborhood, to MacArthur Park. This is a newly made dog park. I say newly made, within the last 10 years. Dad used to walk his dogs over here. There were no dog parks. He just had to keep them on a leash. Of course, his dog King Don, he wasn't gonna play in a park. He's just gonna hang out, just chill, just hang and chill. It's good to see people out here in the park, exercising, enjoying the beautiful day. So this is a pond, and it does get stocked by the Game and Fish, and they'll have a youth fish, I guess tournament maybe. You can see down here. There's a bunch of fish, little minnows. There's a dead one right there. There's a dead one. Quite a few dead ones in here, but there's some big fish in here, and there's some kids over there fishing with their family. Yeah, when they do that, it's like a youth fishing tournament, and you can come out here with no fishing license and fish away. Okay, so we're on the back side of the arsenal, and then this had buildings all around here, and actually tunnels that lead up to each individual buildings. So if you started to dig around out here, you would actually find little secret passages, tunnels, foundations, basements, and they're filled in, but they are still out here. And you can see here where the children's theater is right here, and then the art center being built right over here is right here next to the Arkansas Military History Museum. Nice brick path. And this is an excellent place to fly a kite. It's breezy. I had a kite up here so high. I was flying it right over here. It may have been right there. And I had it so high. How many feet are on a roll of kite string? 500? It was all the way to the end of it. And I was thinking, because the freeway is right there, and I was like, and it was like a 6 foot wide kite that I had. And I was wondering, like, one, how am I going to roll this thing in? I mean, it took everything I could do. Going out, gone right out. Going back in, holy smokes, it took everything I could do to reel that thing back in. It took me probably about 45 minutes to reel it in. But I was so afraid that, like, if the wind died, it would just collapse down and land in the freeway. Gilbert Knapp, I don't know if that's just a memorial for him. I really don't know that he's buried there or what. Some restrooms right there. And just a side note, that military museum is free of charge. They do ask for donations at the door, but there is no charge to get into that museum. So if you have the hankering, go. The money's not holding you back. I mean, seriously, that looks like an adult diaper. That looked like a Depends. I know there's a trash can around here somewhere, for the love of Pete. There's a couple monument stones right over here. I know that they have to be saying that the other buildings were over here. I'll whip over there real quick just to see what they say. Centennial Little Rock Study Club, 1936. Douglas MacArthur, World War I from 1917 to 1918, West Point grad. So that's a dedication stone to him. Roosevelt visits City Park. Memory of the men and women who served with honor with the Naval and Marine Forces of the United States of America during the World War 1917 to 1919, erected in 1924. So this was erected, they called it the World War. We hadn't even had World War II to make this one World War I. The World War. So this was put here in 1924. That's pretty cool. after a 21-gun salute atop Fort Logan Roots, which is still in North Little Rock. Mounted Honor Guard and former Union Confederate veterans escorted the President's Party into the city park, now MacArthur Park, by way of the 10th Street entrance. South of this marker, Roosevelt addressed a crowd of 30 to 35,000 citizens. He spoke extemporaneously on current issues such as conservation, railroads, civic pride, and bluntly attacked the crime of lynching by criticizing Arkansas Governor Jeff Davis and his racist views. So there you go. But it didn't say when he did it. Oh. 1905. You read this side first, probably. Theodore Roosevelt. Oh, Teddy. Teddy Roosevelt, the old Rough Rider. And he was a military man. There's all kind of placards out here. You could spend some time wandering around. It's free of charge, free parking. Walk out here, see what you can see. A lot of history. It's been here for a while. It's been here since the Civil War. The Civil War could have began at this U.S. arsenal. Fort Sumter was attacked after this. Make a brief little pit stop over here. This is a memorial for the Korean War. The Korean War doesn't get a lot of attention. My grandfather served in the Korean War. He served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam twice. But here's a nice monument of the Korean War, and it recognizes all branches of the armed forces, and that is right here on the grounds. There's a park right there you can have your kids play, but that's all right here on the grounds of MacArthur Park, the Arkansas Military History Museum, or History and Military Museum. I don't know. I'm not a history major. I'm not a broadcaster. I'm just a dude with a phone that walks around and gives a little bit of information, which I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this. So here I am, standing in front of the Capitol Guards, Company A, the guy with the bayonet, asking you to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and for God's sake, rock the bell. That's the little bell on the side. Rock the bell. Like LL Cool J told you to do it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Maybe it'll be a little bit better. Thanks for joining me sincerely. Later. Did you enjoy our walk? Did y'all have a good time? I hope you did. How's your little duck feet feeling? Your little waders. They all right? Thanks for joining me, guys. See ya.